What is up, everybody? I'm so excited to be here today to talk about my top 10 best movies from the show. So, I'm excited to share my thoughts about every movie that I've watched the show. I saw over 29 movies, but I picked out my top 10 best movies from the show. I'm actually your host here, everybody, but we are reviews, and today is the day that I want to share every thoughts about my top 10 best films. I know for one thing my list isn't the same as everybody else's, but honestly, it took some time for me to put which movies was my favorite ones from the show. So from the top fives, it's like the best films that I was excited to see, and from the below of the top fives, it was the top 10 pod to the fifth place. So honestly, I want to kick it off with my number 10 pick was Kung Fu Panda 4 actually, because the whole story of this film was kind of like the end post story arc in Kung Fu Panda films, because the first three Kung Fu Panda movies try to understand Poe's journey. Like, I love how they did with the whole concept from the first Kung Fu Panda movie to introduce Poe to the Fearless Five. And now, since they ended Poe's journey in this one, because there's a lot of things that did happen in this film, like there's a new Kyoto Sen want to become the Dragon Warrior, but she didn't even want to become one. But Poe pushed her to become the Dragon Warrior. But the whole film itself was kind of like wacky. Like, honestly, that's one thing I never liked as much in this film. Never shown any of the Fierce Five characters, besides just Poe's story, to come to an end. But even though it was a funny movie, so yeah. For my number 9 slot, I chose was Venom: The Last Dance. Like, I'm picking this film to be in the number 9 spot because I am a big fan for Venom. As we know, one of the symbiotes that took on Spider-Man in Spider-Man 3. And it did have a good aspect of the story to see how Venom comes to a close and for this movie. Because we got to know a lot of things happen in this film because we saw a lot more symbiotes going on and seeing like how this whole story did play out in the end of the film. Noel is one that got stuck into this symbiote planet. He can't get out. So that's one thing that was kind of cool to see Noel at the end of this film. Will he come back in the newer Venom movie if it actually does happen? Or for the future of Spider-Man. So yes, I cannot wait to see if Noel does comes back. And for my number 7 spot is Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. Like, honestly, yes, this is a bit high for me because I love how they did with the story. Like, seeing like how Team Interest, like you guys know one of the characters that took on Furiosa, like Chris Hemsworth played him, and I love Chris Hemsworth. I love his acting role in this one. It's such a great story arc. It has more of a dialogue than action to it, but I do love my dialogue films. But this was highly recommended movie to watch. So yeah, for my number 6 spot, I chose was Inside Out 2. Like, to be fair with you guys, this was actually a bit of a fun movie because I watched the first Inside Out many times. Got another story about Riley growing up as a little kid to like teenager now. Inside Out 2 is when she wants to become a hockey player. To see how all these new emotions came to play. Anxiety, embarrassment, everything else came in, and it was kind of cool to see new emotions. It was kind of cool to see how Riley is growing up in this film. It was kind of cool to see how she did play that. I hope they to see Inside Out 3. That could be kind of cool to see to happen someday. For my top fives, now this is the top 5 picks, by the way, guys. Yes, I'm excited to show you guys my top fives. My number 5th spot is the movie RedOne. It is a Christmas movie, but honestly, it was actually on Amazon Prime. I saw this movie. It was awesome. There was some action scenes, some dialogue scenes, like a lot of big iconic actors in this one, like Chris Evans, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, J.K. Simmons. You can name any great famous actors was in this film. And it was such a great movie. Like, we see a lot of things. J.K. Simmons as Santa Claus. Dude, he was like muscular, buff, kind of like Santa Claus. That's one thing I like from this movie. It was J.K. Simmons played really well in this film. Same as Chris Evans and The Rock. It's like more like a comedy mixed with action and dialogue. That's what I like from this movie. Such a great one. For my number fourth pick was Transformers 1. And honestly, great film. I saw this movie. Great story. Great voice actors. Chris Hemsworth, yet again, voicing as Optimus Prime. And we have, like, Megatron, as we know, like, this is way before Transformers begun. Everything. Like, it was cool to see everyone. Optimus Prime, Megatron, Senator Prime was kind of one of the side villains to this movie, but Megatron came out with his powerful foe with Optimus Prime at the end of the film was so great. So that's the rivalry. This started from this movie. Such a great film to see how the story was fantastic. The action sequences was fun. For my third place was Dune Part 2. And yes, I saw this year and it was awesome. It did have more of a dialogue story to this film, and it does have more action to this film as well. Like, honestly, Dune Part 2 is a great film. I love the first one. I even though don't own the second one yet, I do need to pick that movie up. Like, Dune Part 2 is such a great film. Like, honestly, it was a fun movie, really interesting story arc. It's cool. For the runner-up, it is Deadpool and Wolverine. And honestly, I love how they did with this movie because I'm a fan for Deadpool because he was the one that carried out in this film. Like, Hugh Jackman came back as Wolverine. I was excited. I was like, oh my goodness gracious. Like, this movie was fantastic. I love the story. They went to this, to the void. As we know, what happened in Loki season 2. As we know, everything happened. We saw Chris Evans as the Human Torch. I was like, dude, that is awesome. But this movie itself was amazing. Love to see Hugh Jackman came back for this movie. Deadpool was great because even though they have so much different variants of Deadpool in this film, like, so funny. There's Baby Pool, Doc Pool, Lady Pool, a lot of Deadpools we got to see in this film. So fun and hilarious. For the number one movie from this show that was like excited. I saw this movie twice already. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And yes, it comes to show this was the best movie for me to pick for my number one slot. Like, honestly, if I see the story arc, I've seen Shadow. Like, honestly, Shadow was amazing. Keanu Reeves voiced him perfectly. Like, seeing like how they did with the whole story arc of bringing Shadow in, Dr. Robotnik and Jared Robotnik. Like, dude, there's two of them. I love how they did with the story arc. It's more about, not a lot of humans, but more of the story about Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and Shadow involved. Like, it was so amazing how they did with this movie. The final part from this movie was insane. Shadow and Sonic Super Saiyan mode, dude, I love it. That Chaos Emerald was the most powerful emerald to turn them into Super Sonics and Super Shadows. And yes, that is my top 10 best movies from this year. I was excited from the begin with. And cannot wait for the new year to come for more new movies coming out. So stay tuned for more movies for Brett's Video with you guys. Thank you all for coming to my channel here, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed New Year's and stay tuned for more videos to come out for 2025. If you guys enjoyed my video here today, you guys can subscribe to my channel down below for more videos to come, more movies, more fun categories to talk about. If you want to be notified by my videos, hit that notification bell icon as well. Bye, everybody.